How's it going, everybody? CJ here, back in another video. And the first thoughts today, this one is on Hans Eriksson. Remember guys, if you enjoy my content, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, like this video, comment down below, let me know what you're going to do with Hans Eriksson, if there's any cool cards that I didn't mention that you found, comment them down below if you want to support the channel. We've got the Patreon, you can become a patron, you can join us in the Discord, it's a good time there. Also, if you're going to buy any of the cards I talk about in this video, buy them through the TCG Player affiliate link down below. It helps out the channel. And let's hop into this. Hans Eriksson. So this card's really cool. It's a Gruul Commander. It's a 1/4 for 4 mana. Whenever you attack, reveal a top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it into the battlefield tapped and attacking, defending player or planeswalker they control. Otherwise, put that card into your hand. When you put a creature card onto the battlefield this way, it fights Hans Eriksson. So he's a good way. This card's a really funny throwback to the card Akhan's Run. And I love the fact that they made this card and the way they made it. It's great. Also, the art looks like Saffron Olive, which is kind of funny. But it's a cool card. There's a lot of cool ways you can take it. It's a good way to cheat creatures into play. And there's a lot of different little interactions that you can do to make this deck very powerful. So the first thing I want to talk about is one of the most important parts of the deck. You're going to be playing a lot of big stuff that would kill Hans. So you got to make it so Hans is indestructible, so that way your creatures, that when he fights, he doesn't die. So some of the cards I got for that are Stonehoof Chieftain, which works pretty well in this deck because it's also like a big fatty that you're going to want to drop into play for free anyways. But he gives Trample Indestructible, and he has Trample Indestructible. So, pretty cool. You got Regeneration, just an easy way to regenerate. Darksteel Plate, good way to give just straight up Indestructible, and it has Indestructible. You can also throw like Hammer and Azan in there. Shield of Kaldra, all those just give Indestructible, which is very nice. There's Magebane Armor, which prevents combat damage to equipped creature, and it gives it +2/+4, which is decent. There's also Dolmen Gate, which prevents the damage from being done to your attacking creatures. So since Hans happens to be attacking whenever he's fighting, the Dolmen Gate and Magebane Armor are going to be very good at protecting him. Next up we got Yavimaya Hollow, a really good land for this deck. It just ends up being 2 mana regenerate, which is very powerful. And it takes up like no space in this deck because it just takes up a land spot. You can also throw Mazavith in there. Instead of actually making him indestructible, you can just use Mazavith to untap him and remove him from combat. So that way he's... Well, no, that doesn't actually help. Mazavith does not help with this. But it's good to, like, if you're attacking somebody and you know that the creature you drop into play is going to die to a blocker that the opponent has, you can Mazavith it out of combat. So it's still a good card in the deck. Then you got Vigor. Make it so that way when it fights, instead the damage increases Hans's power and toughness, and it also does the same for whatever creature you bring in. Plus Vigor is a good card to hit off of Hans. And Sword of Fire and Ice and Sword of Feast and Famine. Both of these provide protection from your own creatures. So if you give Hans Sword of Fire and Ice and you drop in a red creature and they fight, they won't deal any damage to Hans. So it works out really well in the deck. Plus, Sword of Feast and Famine is just like a powerhouse in EDH. Like, that's a great card. Next up, we're going to talk about some top deck manipulation. You're going to want to make sure you got some big creatures on the top of your library, so these are some good cards to do it. Scroll Rack is probably the best card to do it, and it's also just reprinted, so right now is a really good time to buy it. Like, there's no time better than right now. So if you want Scroll Rack, if you're building this deck, you're going to need a Scroll Rack, you should get it now. You got Huatuo. Good way to just put cards from your graveyard on top of your library. Same thing with Reclaim and Noxious Revival. Good ways to just like toss up a creature that you really want from your graveyard to put into play. Then you got Sylvan Library and Miri's Guile. Both these cards are very, very good at manipulating the top of your library. And Sensei's Divining Top, another fantastic card. Plus you can throw in like Oracle Moldiah, so that way you can play lands off the top of your library so that way you can try to dig to a creature if there's not a creature on it already. Next category, we're going to talk about extra combat steps because doing this more than once a turn seems pretty ideal. So you got stuff like Port Razor, which is a really cool new one. You got Morag, which is just landfall, extra combats. Morag is a weird card though because the way it's worded, you'll want to play your land in the second main phase. So you go to combat first, Like, let me pull it up so I can have the wording in front of me. So, because whenever it lands in the battlefield under your control, if it's your main phase, there's an additional combat phase after this phase. At the beginning of that combat, untap all creatures you control. So if you play a lander in your first main phase, then that means there's going to be an additional combat step before your normal combat step. So you'd go to combat, untap your creatures, and attack, and then your normal combat step comes, and your creatures won't untap because you don't have that untap trigger. But if you do it in your second main phase and you get the trigger, you have to do it in your second main phase for it to work. I see people play this wrong all the time, but that's the correct way to do it. Then you also got like Seize the Day, which is just fantastic in the deck. Aggravated Assault, you can even go infinite with that and just have Vent Mod and just have infinite combats. Just basically, you go through your entire deck doing that, getting all your creatures into play. You can throw in like, what's the card called? Oh, I should have wrote this down. I can't remember his name. Oh my god, this is gonna bother me. This is bad. This is not good. What's the Praetor? The Red Praetor. Oh my god. Oh, I'm sorry. I gotta look this up. It is Rask. If you have Rask in the deck, then you'll just go through your deck until you hit Rask, and suddenly all the creatures that you've just played have haste, and then anything else you get into play has haste, and you're just going to keep attacking everybody, and you win the game. Seems really good. Next up, there's Fury of the Horde, Hellkite Charger, which also works similarly to Aggravated Assault. You just need a lot more mana than that, and plus sort of Feast and Famine works really well. And Relentless Assault. All those seem fantastic in this deck. And next up, we're going to talk about some Enraged Creatures, because Hans, because of the fact that he's fighting creatures, that if you bring in a creature with Enrage and they fight, then it's going to get dealt damage to it and you get the Enraged trigger off really easily. So there's a lot of really good Enraged creatures that you can put in this deck, and some of those are like Raging Raptors to ramp. Apex Altasaur, just fight a lot of things. It's a big boy. It's a good card in the deck. Silverclad Ferocidons, good way to make your opponent sack stuff. Neotooth Raptors, decent removal. You got Polyraptor, make a buttload of tokens. Ripjaw Raptor, draw some cards. And you can throw in Forerunner of the Empire, which is a cool card in this deck because it tutors a dinosaur to the top of your library. So all these Enraged creatures are all dinosaurs. So if you put in a good number of Enraged creatures, it could be worthwhile to run the Forerunners just so you can tutor out a dinosaur to the top of your library. That seems pretty solid. Next up, I just want to talk about some cards that seem really good in the deck. You got Niath of the Dire Hunt. This card seems disgusting because you're fighting yourself. And wait, let me see what's the wording on Niath. One or more creatures you control fight or become blocked. Okay, so whenever you attack with Hans, you're going to end up activating Niath because that fight trigger is going to happen, and you'll draw a card. So it's just bonus value there. You got Rhythm of the Wild, Lightning Greaves, and Swiftfoot Boots. All these seem like auto includes. Just give your creatures haste, give Hans haste. Brutalizer Exarch, Worldly Tutor, and Sylvan Tutor all seem fantastic. So that way you can just tutor whatever creature you need to the top of your library, then you attack with Hans and put it into play. Stronic Resonator, Lithoform Engine, and Helm of the Host seem fantastic in the deck. Just double up the trigger. Helm of the Host seems really cool because you'll be able to make a lot of Hans. And yeah, Lurking Predators. You're already playing a lot of big stuff. Why not just get the big stuff in for free during your opponent's turn when they cast spells? Seems decent. And last card I want to talk about is Faux Regent. So when it enters the battlefield, you may have it fight a creature you don't control. And I didn't even realize it. This has flying. Okay, this is a dragon. Yeah, that makes sense. For some reason, I thought this was a beast forever. And whenever a creature you control fights, put 2+1/+1 counters on at the beginning of the next end step. So when you attack with Hans and put a creature into play and they fight each other, both of them will end up getting 2 counters on them. So that seems really solid. That seems like a very, very solid card in this deck. It's a big mana card. It'd be fun to cheat this thing into play with Hans. And it fights an opponent's creature when you do that. So it seems good. And so yeah, that's what I got for Hans Eriksson. If you guys enjoyed this video, please remember, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like this video. Comment down below if you're building Hans, if you enjoyed this deck tech, if you are going to build a deck, whatever, let me know. If there's any cool cards that I didn't mention that you're putting in your Hans deck, let me know down below so that other people can see it. If you want to support the channel, or if you want to buy into the cards that I talked about in this video, TCG Player Affiliate link is down below. Buy your cards through there. It helps the channel. Also, you can support the channel directly through Patreon, which is always really fun. We got the Discord. It's a good time. It's a good time. Just ask Jake. He loves it. And so, yeah. That's all I got for you guys today. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everybody.